Radhe Govind, my dear students. In the earlier class, we discussed about the fragmentation and reassembly. So each network imposes a limit on maximum size known as maximum transfer unit (MTU) of a packet because of various reasons. So to keep packet size below this MTU, we use fragmentation. So if a network allows 1600 byte of packet, that is MTU, then we can fragment a IP packet of 4800 byte of data into the fragments of 1600 bytes like this. Okay, so because the IP packet must be the multiple of 8 bytes, so the 1600 byte will go like 200 into 8 byte of octets. Okay, so the offset value of the first fragment will be 0, and the second value we will divide 1600 by 8, so we will get 200. So second offset for the second fragment will be 200, and for third fragment it will be 400, again adding 200, and so on. So why this offset is required? It is a 13-bit field, shows the relative position of the segment with segment means fragment with respect to the complete datagram measured in units of 8 byte, because we will reassemble these datagrams, fragmented datagrams, into the one complete datagram. Okay, now the reverse process is reassembly, which puts the fragment together. There are two opposing strategies for performing the reassembly. In first case, the fragmentation in one network is made transparent to any subsequent networks. This requires that packet is to be reassembled before sending it to subsequent network as shown in figure. This strategy is used in ATM like this. Net 1 here, before going from net 1 to net 2, the all fragments must be reassembled. You can say that all the fragments being received by R2 from R1 are reassembled before going to the router 3 of network 2. Okay, and another approach is non-transparent fragmentation, in which only the reassembly is done at the source and the destination, so all the network can see that how many fragments each datagram have. Okay, next we will learn about ICMP, Internet Control Message Protocol. So it is used to make efficient the network resources. IP was designed to provide unreliable and connectionless best effort datagram delivery service. As a consequence, IP has no error control mechanism and also lacks mechanism for host and management queries. So ICMP has been designed to compensate these two deficiencies. So ICMP message can be broadly divided into two broad categories: error reporting message and query message. So error reporting message are destination unreachable message, time exceeded message, source quench message, parameter problem, and redirect messages. And query messages are, these are the control packets for the IP protocol: echo request and reply message, timestamp request and reply, address mask request and reply messages. So the frame format of these query and messages are shown in this figure, and you can easily see the fields, and they are also defined in the 0 to 31 bit order, that is 32-bit field at each level. Okay, so these are the all ICMP message formats which are used for the uh, mechanism of error control and management queries. Okay, so ICMP used for error control and message. And next one, the IPv6 protocol, the network layer that is present in use in commonly referred to as IPv4. IPv4 is well designed and has helped the internet to grow rapidly. It has some deficiencies. These deficiencies has made it unsuitable for the fast growing internet. To overcome these deficiencies, IP version 6 IPv6 protocol has been proposed, and it has evolved into a standard. Important features of IPv6 are IPv6 uses 128-bit address instead of 32-bit address to provide large address space, uses more flexible header format which simplifies and speed up the routing process, basic header followed by the extended header. Next is resource allocation options, which was not present in IPv4, provision of new future protocol options, support for security with the help of encryption and authentication, and support for fragmentation at the source. Okay, and now I just like to discuss one more thing with you, which is network address translation and ARP and RARP. So what is network address translation? So with the increasing number of internet users requiring an unique IP address for each host, there is an acute shortage of IP addresses. Until everybody moves to IPv6, the network address translation approach is a quick interim solution to this problem. So NAT allows a large set of IP addresses to be used in an internal or private network, and a handful of addresses to be used for the external internet. So the internet authorities has set aside 3 set of addresses to be used as private. Like these are the address set for the private network: range 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255, that is total number 2 raised to power 24 addresses. And next range is 172.16.0.0 to 172.31.255.255. So the total number of addresses are 2 raised to 20. And in the third range, 192.2.168.0.0 to 192.168.255.255. These are the 2 raised to the 16 number of addresses. So what network address translation does, it needs a device like of router which converts the private addresses whenever they go to the public internet. Okay, so we can reuse these private addresses into the private network, and public addresses cannot be reused like this. So the translation table has that private address 172.19.2.1 has the global IP address 200.19.3.2. So whenever a private address 172.19.2.1 want to send something, then the NAT device converts this private address into the global IPv4 address 200.19.3.2. And whenever NAT device receives a packet for the destination address 200.19.3.2, it converts it into the private address corresponding to this public IPv4 address. Okay, that is 172.19.2.1. So we can use these range of private addresses to overcome the problem with the growing internet. Okay, so this is all about the network address. Now we will look about the address resolution protocol. So these are very simple protocol. They convert the IP address into the 48-bit Ethernet or MAC address. So whenever a router has the packet for the IP address for some devices, it broadcasts that this IP address belongs to which device. Okay, so in the LAN, whenever a device finds that this IP address belongs to him, like D belongs to that IP address, so it unicast that this IP address belongs to me, and A will send the IP packet to device D directly using this ARP address resolution protocol. Okay, so the same thing is the reverse ARP. So whenever it converts the MAC address into the IP addresses, and whenever a host broadcasts a RARP request specifying itself as a target, and RARP server responds with the reply directly to host A, and host A preserves the IP address in its main memory for future use until it reboots. Remember one thing, there is always a cache table regarding the ARP and RARP protocol, which tells directly the recent known information of the mapping with the IP address and MAC addresses. So students, we have done IP protocol here, and keep learning, stay safe and stay home. All the best.